Welcome back, gang. Hayley, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. As always, big thanks to everyone listening, sharing stuff, tagging in stuff, tagging your mates. Honestly, we're buzzing. We're just buzzing that you have given us a chance to just chat.
Love
Patter
seeing
for
it in the
half an hour.
stories, don't we?
Yeah, man. Well, honestly, I'm obsessed. So, Hayley Jepson, what is on the agenda for today's podcast?
I'm really looking forward to today. Maddie, I want to talk about being a bit woo-woo. I
Oh,
think it's
right on my
gonna
street, yeah.
I think it's gonna be funny. I think we should talk about, are we a bit woo-woo? And who's more woo-woo between us? I think we should
Yeah,
have a
okay.
woo off.
A woo off. Should we
Who's more
call it
woo-woo?
How Woo Were You?
How woo are
So
you?
a new segment.
I obviously think that you're more woo than me.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that. So, what do you think about that so far?
Yeah. Yeah, so my relationship with woo is that I was very woo resistant because I was,
Yes.
not that long ago I was a little arsehole, little punk who was like, I don't like things that other people like, and I'm not watching Twilight, which to be fair I still haven't watched. But I'm very resistant to things that a lot of people like. It's a little rebellious punk
Yes.
teenager in me. And I had two conversations in 1 week. One was with my coach at the time, Josh. One was with my therapist, Sue. And in both of those conversations separately, I said, I'm not into this stuff. I'm not woo. And both of them were gobsmacked. And Josh was like, wait a minute, Maddie, you use words like aligned and juju. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah, maybe I do. And my lovely therapist, who's a fabulous therapist and also very woo herself, was like, perplexed. She was like, you are? Like, why do you not think that you are? And we unpacked a bit around the resistance. So now I'm more openly woo. I dipped my toe in a bit more in private in my membership at the time in my Facebook groups. And then I realized that actually loads of people are more woo than what they maybe are publicly to friends and family. And they love to, have a space to talk about it. So I feel like it's expanded a bit there. And my friend
Yes.
group's really woo. So I've been able to very safely explore that side of myself with less shame and resistance. So that's like where I'm up to now. Where are you on the woo journey?
I think I am a little woo resistant, but a bit more woo than I think.
Yeah.
I would say my friends are quite woo resistant, actually. My friends are not really that way inclined at all.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when I think about this because there are bits of things that I do, but I sometimes feel that woo-ness and mental health can clash.
Yeah.
And so I think some of the reasons I'm woo resistant is because I think it's not helpful with people's mental health.
Yeah, I get this.
However, I also think it can sometimes be helpful for people's mental health. But I'll tell you what I think about that in a little bit. But
yeah,
I think we should be clear about what woo is. If anyone's listening thinking, what are they talking about? What is woo?
woo? So yeah, let's define top level. What would you kind of class in the basket of woo things?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think's woo, and then you can add anything to it.
Yeah.
I think things like the law of attraction and manifesting are woo.
Yeah.
I think crystals, affirmations, card pulling. I think that's vision boards. I think all that is woo.
Yeah.
But I think it's heavily on the manifesting. I think is quite woo.
Yeah, I
Can't think of anything else that I think. What do you think?
Yeah, my brain went straight away to The Secret, which I know that me and you both have very strong opinions on.
Yes, we have
we'll
strong
share,
opinions about them. Yes, let's get into that.
And I think that is the very core of my woo resistance is around that in particular. And I'm sure you'll talk about the mental health element in that. But yeah, I think those sorts of things like tarot, like runes, all the way up to things like this like woo sort of spiritual sort of retreats. I guess anything that isn't really mainstream science rooted or maybe Western religion kind of rooted. For me, feels that falls under my umbrella of woo stuff, mystical things.
Yeah.
Unexplained things. Yeah, that's what
I suppose like spirituality is a word, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think
universe and vibes.
Yeah, but I think spirituality actually is a bit different. And I think, when people talk about things like breath work and stuff, I would actually put that in a different category.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's heavy like crystals, vision boards, law of attraction, carry on.
Carry on.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
but I want to know this. So that's what we mean, people, when we're talking about woo. And so I want to know, Maddie, which ones are you banging to? What
Most
are you doing?
Of the above. And some more than others. But like anything, there are caveats. It's not like, I'm 100% committed to the vision board. It's they're great, but this is why, and this is how I kind of make sense of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if me and you, because we both started out as woo resistant, and I'm not really, I think you're more woo than me, but we'll see actually, won't we? We might end up I'm the wooist, but I think we've made sense of it for ourselves.
Yes. Exactly.
Like, that's why there's caveats.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Because we've had to figure out how to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And why some of it's useful for us. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think what would be sensible is let's pick a woo topic and then both say what we think about it.
Yeah.
Are we doing it? And what do you think about it?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the law of attraction, because I think that's quite a big thing. And I also think The Secret certainly falls into that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you tell me what you think.
So this is where I'm conflicted. I watched The Secret and I think it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. I didn't even read the book because I just thought, what an absolute crock. And for me, the reason I don't like it is because it's like, you can negative think your way into a cancer diagnosis. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel great. So I'm going to kick that one into the bin for me personally. But what I'm going to take from it is probably a bit more of a scientific approach. I read another book called The Source, which was a much more like rooted in sciencey things and neuroscience, and they call it like value tagging. So do you know, for example, let's think you're thinking about getting a white Tesla. You will see white Teslas everywhere because you've value tagged it. It's like on your mind, so you'll see it. And I think for probably scientific reasons and whatever other reasons, what you are thinking about a lot of, you will see more of. So that can be a positive, that can be a negative. So I think when people are really pessimistic and their sort of life story is like, bad things happen to me, I'm not lucky, then generally that can happen because they are looking for the things that like reaffirm the belief. And one of, I think, the best things that I've ever watched about this is quite an old Derren Brown program called The Secret of Luck, which I think is still on Channel 4. And it's so good. It's Don O'Porter, and there's a guy in particular who's like, I'm not lucky, nothing good ever happens to me. He's like a butcher. So they start setting up this stuff where like there's someone doing a quiz outside, and it's like, if you answer these questions right, you win 50 quid. And it's like cuts of meat. So obviously he would have won, but he like walks past a 50 quid note on the floor. And then they have to start driving a van around with his name on it saying, so-and-so ring this number with, they put a winning scratch card in a magazine and he throws it in the bin. So I think we all know people like this who are like, nothing good ever happens. I'm so unlucky. But I'm like, well, have you ever entered a competition or played the lottery or done anything?
Yes.
So, and I love that because I think I'm a lucky person, but I think I'm also a really opportunistic person, and I try to look for opportunities and things, and like, how can I, what's a good thing that can come out of situations. So for me, that's law of attraction, is that like, it's more about what do you want to see more of? And is that a positive? Is that a negative? And then seeing those in the day-to-day and exploring those things rather than just going, nothing good ever happens.
Yes.
I have had some really weird ones though, like literally where I've got very, very specific things that I've wanted at like exact moments. So there's things that I can't kind of explain there. But yeah, what's yours? What's your vibe, secret law of attraction, what you're saying?
I mean, I hate it. I think it's awful. I think it's shaming to people.
Yeah.
There's a part of it that sort of says, if life's hard, it's your fault. And like you said, if you got cancer, it's your fault.
I mean, horrific.
I just can't tolerate that at all. I remember reading The Secret in the 90s or whatever when it came out. I never saw the film, thank God. I'm glad that's not burned on my eyeballs. But I read the book, and I think at the time I was like, oh, sort of mildly interested. And then I just thought, I think this is a problem. I just think it's a problem. And I think there's that thing of we all have a different start in life. Yeah, and some people have a tough start in life. And when we start making presumptions that the playing field is fair and that you can turn it around just by thinking positive, I just think, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's shaming.
And it doesn't address
and
like privilege.
Offensive.
Like if you're born as like...
That.
If you're born as like a rich white dude
privileged.
in Beverly Hills, you can't compare the luck you've had to someone born in like war-torn Ukraine. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it just bothers me in general. Like it's privilege in action, isn't it? The Secret. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, Maddie. Is the bottom line of that.
Don't mince your words, Haley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have very strong opinions, so it's difficult, really. But I think the law of attraction overlaps with things like manifestation and vision board. You know, like I do think they overlap a little bit, and I have slightly different feelings about these.
Okay, so let's segue into those and the things that you feel maybe a little bit different about.
Yeah, shall I go first?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people talking about manifesting and being really interested in it. And what I see sometimes is people, I think it's the way it's talked about sometimes in certain, you know, I think the way certain people are putting it out into the world is if you just think about it enough and keep happy thoughts, you'll get the Audi and you'll marry, I don't know, you know, I can't even think of anybody now, Leonardo DiCaprio, and you'll get to move here and you'll get the swimming pool. It's like if you think about it hard enough and stay positive at all costs, you'll get it with no hard work whatsoever. All you've got to do is write that £100,000 check, put it million check, put it in your purse, and it'll all happen. You know, if you can see it, you can have it. And I find an issue with that. I find an issue with that. However, I thought about this because I was having a rant one day, I don't know who to, about manifesting because it was getting on my nerves. There was a real push for it a few years ago, I noticed. But I started thinking about this thing that I used to do when I was young, and we used to call it the cosmic shopping list. And I used to have you ever done that? We called it the cosmic shopping list. And so I think it is manifesting, essentially. I used to write a list of things that I wanted. And then I used to usually shove it in a book and put it on the shelf. But periodically I've come across these cosmic shopping lists, and they're kind of they're funny when I see them because some stuff is quite big and some stuff is really small. Like I remember finding one that said, I want a lunch break. Like how sad is that? From when I was I just want, no, she just wanted a bloody break. Some stuff was so small. And then some stuff was bigger, but I'll tell you what always happened. I always had everything on the list.
This is
everything I wrote in them lists I got. And so how I think about that, this is how I make sense of manifesting, is when you make a very conscious decision that you want something, I think just bringing it from your subconscious into your conscious makes you see opportunities that are presenting themselves and it gives you a direction.
Exactly.
It's like having a plan. And I think when we're really clear about what we want, we're more likely to get it. But if you just say things like, I want freedom, I mean, that makes no sense. It's a very vague goal. So sometimes when I'm talking to people about goal setting, I'm like, you have to be able to say, yes, I have that now. It has to be so clear that you can tick a box to say you did it. Because who can tick a box to say, I've got more freedom?
Got freedom, yeah. Yeah, it's like SMART goals.
It's too vague.
You've got to be able to say, yeah,
it's
this
too
is
vague.
It.
And so I think vision boards, manifesting cosmic shopping lists is about being honest with yourself about what you want. And I think that's the first step on the path to getting what you want. That's my opinion. What about you?
I totally agree. And to your previous point, like, I'm the same. I've pulled stuff out and I've been like, I didn't even remember writing it. Oh, in fact, a really meta one. I went for the retreat with my friends the other week, and that's one of the things we do. We write I'll lead it, and we do like a manifestation session. We do a future dated diary. So it's like you'll write the diary entry date. It's like 3 years from that day. And you'll say like, I woke up this morning, it was this time. And mine usually involves waking up to a coffee being made for me and all the rest of it. What's wild is I read one in April of this year, and it said, I brought up the podcast, and I love making it, and it's been really well received. And I was like, I didn't even remember writing it at the time, and I was like, shit, we've got the podcast. Like, this is manifested.
Yeah,
totally agree. I've been told this week with one of my coaching clients that she thinks she manifested me in she manifested my program, because she was like, I just kept thinking, why is there not this thing? Now, I don't believe that she manifested it. I think that part of our jobs is to create things that are really helpful for people and really know our clients incredibly well.
See the need.
Yeah, and that's a job for anyone who's got a business with clients, is like really understanding their needs and how we can, create things to meet those. But yeah, I mean, like Taylor Swift was on mine at the beginning of the year, saw her. Pedro Pascal's on there. I mean, the writer's strike has screwed me over a little bit, but there's still time. I'm sure we'll cross paths sometime. But yeah, some like really weirdly specific things. But yeah, it's like I said, it's more rooted in the science of, like you're saying, it's the conscious, it's the having a plan. Plus, I like to win, and I'm very competitive with myself. So if I say I'm going to do something, I need to cross that off. So like, I will do as much in my power. But yeah, I'm not a fan at all of very passive goal setting. Like, I don't think you can just at the beginning of the year say, I want this, this, and this, and this, and then sit back and go, oh, why is that stuff not happened to me? I think we have
I've written it on a board. Why is it not happening?
Yeah, like, we have to do the action as well. You've got to do the stuff.
But I think, you can't take the action if you don't know what the goal is. That's the thing, isn't it? And I think so many people are not taking action because their direction is vague.
It's freedom. I want happiness. I want to be relaxed. And it's
I want more money.
Yeah. I'm like, do you want to be relaxed, or do you want to have a membership to the local spa and you go there 3 times a week? Because that's the thing that we can measure.
It's too vague. It's too vague.
Cool. But I think we're on the same page.
That's what I think about that. I can see out the corner of my eye, there's a book that I would recommend to people. Anyone who's listening to this thinking, oh, I quite like The Secret, I've got a replacement for you. It's called The Expectation Effect, and it's by David Robson. Yeah. I think you'd like it, Maddie, if you've not read it yet.
No, not yet.
He's a science writer, and it's about what you expect. It proven science stuff. What we expect, we get more of.
Yeah.
But he talks about how that is not law of attraction stuff, though.
Yeah.
It's just our brains predicts. When we think about something, our brain goes, well, what have we had before? It'll probably be like that.
Yeah.
And so he talks about, if you actively get more good experiences, what your brain has to sift through is better, and things get better. And I think this is where the law of attraction stuff sort of comes from, but got confused and actually got a little bit toxic in some ways.
Yeah.
But that our brain does look for what's already happened. And that's why that guy on the Derren Brown thing thinks he's in bad luck.
Yeah.
But he could turn that round a little bit by being open and actually paying attention. Because I think what I was listening to when you talked about him was he just wasn't paying attention to anything.
Well, they showed him at the end, they showed him a video of all of the things that they'd done. And he was just he was like, I just honestly didn't see them. But obviously they were happening. There was like a 50 quid note glued to the floor, and he just walks past it. I love that. I love the expectation thing. obviously big fans of therapy, and in TA there's like life scripts, and things tend to pan out the way that you kind of think they're gonna, but sometimes sadly people think that their life plan is awful and really stressful and really hard. So
yeah, I think you could connect that to growth mindsets and fixed mindsets as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Some people are not open to new ways of doing things, thinking, and so if you do what you always did, you get what you always got, etc., etc.
Exactly. Love this.
But yeah, it gets messy, doesn't it? So next, crystals.
So I have
What do you think about crystals?
I have a funny crystal story for you. I want to like crystals, and I have some crystals, but one of them that I like is called citrine, and it's the abundance crystal. It's this kind of yellowy orange one. And I got one off Etsy, and it was like a big chunky boy. And I was sat doing one of my pricing masterclasses in the lockdown, and I was, because I'm a fidgeter, I was throwing it in one hand, and I was throwing it and catching it and throwing it and catching it, because I thought, oh, if I hold on to the citrine, maybe I'll have like a very abundant masterclass. The opposite happened. I accidentally dropped it onto the trackpad of my brand new MacBook. So that was not very abundant of the crystal.
So you broke your computer and your crystal.
Yeah. So double bubble, not abundant. So it's something that I like. I like the look of them. I like learning about them. I like people telling me what they do. I love that you go and put them out in. I think you put them in front of like a full moon and you charge them up, and that's a thing. I like looking around crystal shops, but for me, it's one that I haven't really got the intended vibes from crystals, but maybe I'm just, not doing it properly. So that for me is a bit of a neutral, like I like them, but they haven't, impacted my life apart from
Yeah, you're like, they're nice ornaments.
Yeah, and I would like to take them more seriously as a crystal person would, but I need a lesson.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, sort of similar. I haven't dropped one on my computer though, but I've never, someone bought me a crystal absolutely hundreds of years ago, and it just sits on the side. I've never done anything with it. And then I noticed that in one of my memberships, someone mentioned crystals, and literally everybody piled on, and they were all so excited about it. And I was like, oh, people are really into this. They like it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And anyway, I was out shopping with my mate recently, and she wanted to buy crystals. She's a therapist. And I was like, what's going on? And she just said,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And she started getting into rituals. She's working on grief rituals and stuff at the minute. Anyway, she said she wanted to create a sort of, I think I'm not going to get the word right, but a kind of a shrine, if you like a place you can go and think about things, like a peaceful space, and it has to be a spot. And anyway, she's buying crystals for this. And I was like, oh, I like that, because I'm a fan of, I would call it ceremony. I'm a fan of ceremony.
Yeah.
We could maybe talk about that more one day. But I think doing things in a ceremony way is really comforting to people.
Yeah.
So I bought a crystal because I'm easily persuaded, Maddie. She was buying loads, and I thought, yes, my ADHD went, I want one.
Yeah.
And so I bought my first crystal a few weeks ago. I can't remember what it is. I think it's some sort of pale jade. They told me what it was for. I can't remember. But I bought one that I thought was pretty, because I just think buy what's attractive. And so mine's like one of those that's like a pillar.
Yes, where I've got one of those from me and my best friend went to, they're called Psychic Sisters in Selfridges, because if you're going to be woo-hilly, you've got to be bougie woo.
Bougie woo.
And we each got a tarot reading, and obviously, like, I'm the easiest person to upsell, so I was just stood there, and I was like, I'll buy this. And we usually, for the friend group, will get like things like this. So I was like, oh, I'll get positivity for this person, and I'll get this for this person. So I have, I think, amethyst. It was funny when you were saying about the jade, because I'll tell you what's happening right this moment. Our very lovely friend Tom will be screaming the name of whatever that crystal is. So Tom, please get our DMs and tell us what it is, because I know you
tell us crystals. What it means. Tom will be thrilled we're talking about crystals. I know,
we need a guest expert. So yeah, I think we're about the same on that, which is like, we want to maybe know a bit more and be a bit into it, but we just don't really have the full knowledge.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did. And so shortly after I bought the crystal was that big supermoon that we had recently.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought, oh, well, I'll put it out in the garden overnight.
Yeah.
And so I did all the things, and I found it sort of fun, and I enjoyed the ceremony of it, and I haven't given it a moment's thought since.
Yeah.
This isn't something that's sticking.
Okay. Well, we'll see how we'll get
But I
on
think
with.
it's pretty on my mantelpiece.
Yeah. Give us a few weeks of podcasting. We might bring it back in the hyperfocus because we've become crystal people.
See how that goes. But so it's like, I think they're pretty, but I'm not doing anything really with it.
Yeah. It hasn't stuck.
So I'm not very worried. So the next one is like cards. I see people pulling cards every day. I'm going to be quick and tell you my answer.
Yeah.
I don't do this. It's
not for you.
I have no interest in this really.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have bad feelings about it.
Just not for you.
Actually, I might do. I'm not sure I want someone to tell me how I feel that day. I feel like if I did it, I'd keep pulling cards till I got the one I wanted.
Well, funny you should say cards, Hayley. And for those of you watching on YouTube, here's my card collection. Not opened. Self-Love Club. Astrology cards.
Not opened.
That one's not opened. I have a feeling that a couple of these are from, shout out to Grace Innocent Bones, who does the subscription box. We get stuff that goes into there. Whenever I go around, I'll leave with a little gift. So I think that might come from there. Same for astrology cards. This one was a gift, and it's called Inquire Within. So this is one where it's like a cosmic hot take, Hayley. It'll just give you like a very straightforward one.
Can you just pull one now, please, and tell me what it says?
I was going to say, should we do one live for you? I'll do one of the hot take ones because the other ones are a bit long. I've also got a lovely tarot set, which I really enjoy doing, but it's a lot to learn, and you've got to read the books and cross-reference. So I'll do them. Mystic Maddie will do a card deck, and then I'll spend about 20 minutes working out what it is. So let me just do, I'm going to channel Hayley Jepson. What does Hayley...
So this is for me, okay.
This is for you, right? Very vague. Inhale, exhale.
Oh, I'll just get on my nerves.
I'll do one for me. Nourish. Those ones are not for you either. The ones that I love... No,
it's not for me. I don't like being told what to do.
I don't like being told to breathe or to nourish.
I just think, oh, come on.
Yeah, these ones are very... if you just want a quickie, you just want a little bit of like, okay, universe is talking to me, then wonderful. But my absolute faves, and you'll like where I got these from, I got upsold these in Gucci in Soho. They're not Gucci brand, but apparently a lady who works there makes them. They're called Animal Apothecary Oracle cards. I love these ones. They're just very beautiful. They're really like aesthetically pleasing, and you get a little book and they've all got animals on, and each animal has like medicine, and it'll say, whale's medicine is blah, 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 blah. I quite like them. It takes me 5 minutes to read it, and I think, honestly, it's just nice to have a little slow down. I have to get into the mental space to draw it out. Sometimes I'll say to Aidan, shall we do a little card pull? That's my preferred one. And I have had a weird... I did one on my membership, the Abundance Academy, where everyone was like, well, woo. And we'd been talking about, I want to say like imposter syndrome or something. And the card that I pulled at the end was like super specific to that. So everyone was like very pleased. So again, a thing that I like the act of doing it.
That's what I call ceremony.
The ceremony, yeah.
There's something about ceremony that's good.
Yes, and I don't think I'd live and die by them. I certainly don't think I would use them to replace my intuition and my logical decision making. But it's a nice little thing for me to just go, oh, I wonder what the cards are going to say today.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I kind of like crystals, but I'm clearly more into this. But yeah, I like doing them. They're not for you though.
Not really. I feel like I don't want someone to tell me what to do or something, to tell me what to do or give me an instruction. I'm like, I'm all right, thanks. I'll figure that out for myself.
I know what I'm doing, yeah.
But this takes us to affirmations, which is our last one we're going to talk about. And I feel affirmations can sometimes be in cards. Like I see people have affirmation cards, and I'm more up for that.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who madly uses affirmations. And I see affirmations being a little bit misused as well. I feel I feel all of this can be a little misused, which is why it upsets me sometimes around the mental health vibe. I think it's not a replacement for good mental health. But affirmations I can get on board with, although I don't use them madly. But there's a couple that I've heard once in a while that I like.
Yeah.
So Denise Duffield Thomas has one that spoke to me once, and which was, I serve, I deserve. And that was around being paid for your skills. And I really like that one. And I say it to people a lot, and I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
And so I'm all right with affirmations. I was even thinking the other day, Maddie, that I might make quite a me-vibed affirmation pack.
Oh my God, yes. You really need to do
because I feel like affirmations can be a bit like a pep talk, and I'm okay with that side of things. And so I was trying to think about, I might make a funny affirmations pack.
Yeah,
that's very me.
I would love
thinking
that.
about it,
and maybe some of them is just like,
right.
Go back to bed today. You've done enough. That would be my. So, sometimes I'd love to pull that card and be like, thanks universe for the permission to go and have a little snooze.
Have you seen that? I see it on Instagram. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's called something like, it's like negative affirmations, but it's not called that.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Have you seen it?
No, I don't think so. I've seen it's like a meme page that's like it looks like, maybe it is that actually. It's like, do you know the positive quotes where it's like over a sunset, but it's like,
it's that really, this is the one I'm on
really
about.
Like satirical, where it's just like, other people are better than you, so don't even bother.
Tomorrow will be just as shit as today, so don't even try. It's not even, they're so much funnier than that though, aren't they? But it really makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think about sharing them on my stories, and then I think, no, because if someone's in bad mental health today, they might not take that in the humour it was intended.
Yeah.
What do you think about affirmations?
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it feels more like self-talk, and I think self-talk's like so important. I try and practice good self-talk. When I hear it in other people, I'll be like, what are you saying this about yourself for? And I do love a little snappy phrase. I think, again, for ADHD vibes, sometimes we just need like a little booster, or just to remember something, or just to say to ourselves. The things that I love is like, imperfect action's better than perfect inaction. If I just need to do something. In our house, we love From the Bear, Let It Rip. Do you know when you just need to do something, we're just like, let it rip, and that'll, we'll put the washing on. So I like things like that for just when you need it in that moment, I suppose, like just a snappy kind of, this is what I'm gonna, this is what I need to do. But I don't have, I don't have post-its around my mirror saying you're a strong, confident woman or anything like that.
No, I don't.
Not for me.
But I don't judge anyone that does either.
No, absolutely not. Like, I know that people do that, but also, I've, like we say, I love therapy, so I've worked a lot on my inside self-talk, which is pretty good. So I don't need that much like external reminder to say nice things to myself.
Well, I think that leads me on to how I would like to wrap this subject up, which is that I think all of this stuff is fine and great if you're into it, but it's not a replacement for really looking after yourself and making informed decisions that are good for you. I like to think about it as a side dish, not the main course. This is how I always say it.
Love that.
I think some real looking at yourself, making good decisions with a side of crystals is fine. But I think if you're putting all your hopes into your crystals, I'm not a fan. That's when I start not loving it.
Yeah.
When people are leaning really into this and not doing, let's call it, the work, which might be going to therapy, having a good look at yourself, your relationships, whatever. I think just hoping your way out of things is not entirely useful.
Yeah.
that's kind of my thing. But what I also know, science facts, is that placebo works. Plus, if you think something works, it often does. And so much, and a lot of this is in the book, The Expectation Effect. Placebo is now part of medical trials because it works.
Yeah.
If you give someone a drug and tell them that their symptoms will reduce, more often than not, they do. And so that's why and when I learned that, I softened up on things like crystals and cards and stuff, because I think if that gets you through the day, crack on. That's essentially what I feel. Everyone's just trying to get through the day and get through life. And I think whatever gets you through is brilliant. But I'm not a fan of replacing working on yourself in a different way, like therapy, coaching, just having a honest chats and replacing it with crystals. I'm not for that. I'm not for leaning into it too heavily.
Totally
what's your summary?
It's exactly the same. Just like I don't feel comfortable with like high levels of passivity, and what I mean is like going, I can't make decisions, so I'm going to let this thing make a decision for me. Like, because I think it bypasses our intuition and the knowledge that we've got, and actually that we have the answers. And that's probably from my coaching background, is that like we know that people have the answer in them. We just maybe help facilitate to like get it out and ask good questions. In the same way that if someone says, Maddie, what do I do? We'll talk about it. I won't just go do this. Because I don't want people to bypass that.
I'm not interested in giving my power away. That's why I don't like the card pulling.
Yes.
It feels like giving my power away to me. That's just how I feel, you know. If something goes, no, thanks.
Thrashed out a decision and you go, right, I've done the logic, I've like cash flow projected this and this, and I'm still really at this impasse, and you think, well, I'll ask the cards. Then fair enough. Like if that's, you know, but we don't just
I'm going to light a candle in my abundance corner for extra.
It sounds wonderful. But for me, it's not like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I have no idea, and I'm going to just see what the card says. It's like a nice
and then do it.
Yeah.
I'm not for that.
Feels a bit reckless. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So, we think the same.
Yeah.
To summarise, do what you do to get through the day.
Yeah.
But we think it's a side dish.
Exactly this.
Not the main course.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we're mainly on the same page, and maybe you.
Who's more woo, though?
I think, I don't know. Maybe our listeners need to tell us, and we'll do a poll.
Yes, we'd like that. Have a vote. Who's more woo? Let us know who you think.
So let's wrap up hyperfocus. What is hyperfocus of the week for you?
Mine follows on a little bit from my hyperfocus from last week, which was to do with the colour thingy. But I've gotten fully obsessed with makeup in a crackers fashion, and I've recently decided to do TikTok in a serious way, and consequently have spent a couple of £100 on makeup thanks to TikTok through TikTok Shop. And this has had varying degrees of success, Maddie. But I'm essentially fully obsessed with makeup at the moment. All my TikToks are about makeup. I love a woman on TikTok called Erica Taylor, who does makeup for women over 40. And it's really funny and really brilliant, because she's like, I bet you were taught to do your makeup like this in the 90s. Stop doing that. And she really makes me laugh. And she's got ADHD. She talks really fast, and she's funny and brilliant. And so I'm kind of fully obsessed with makeup, and I really want Lady Gaga's new foundation.
Ooh,
did you know Lady Gaga had a makeup range?
No, I did not. This is new information.
It's called House Labs. And all the makeup people say it is absolutely amazing, but they only sell it in Sephora in London. And so I've become obsessed with getting to Sephora in London. Well, however, I've got a few jobs in London.
I was going to say, so you're never too far away from London.
Yes,
people's
so this is
me.
That. Yeah, so, all of that. I actually bought her makeup online, but it was the wrong colour. I did a quiz, it didn't work.
Online colour match things, not for me.
It wasn't quite right.
Especially when
so I need to go in person, and you can't send it back. So all of that. So I'm just deep diving makeup in general.
Okay.
For women over 40 and all of that. What about you?
I love that. I like when it's helpful ones, because sometimes they're really not healthy or helpful.
Yes.
Mine is off the back of the colour analysis. I am obsessed with vintage in a massive way.
Oh God, yes you
are. To the point where my bloody poor postman is just distressed with how often he's here. I've got skirts for £2. I feel like saying, can I give you some more, please? Because you're really underselling yourself. But I wanted to get some nice bits, because obviously I've been trying to replace things. But I thought, this is for what I want to get. I'm going to have to remortgage my house to get like 50 items. So I thought I'll do a little spread. I'll do a few little John Lewis and, wherever. And then I've done a few, like getting Lucignac dungarees for £20 off Vinted. What a time to be alive. So that's my current thing.
Yes.
I might have to delete the app soon, though, because this is getting a bit out of hand.
My friend's obsessed with Vinted, like absolutely obsessed. Like every time I see her, she'll go, do you want to see my latest Vinted haul? And she'll show me like 20 things and she spent £15. But I have no look on it. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what's happening.
The algorithm for me recently has just got really good. And I think you have to like commit to searching and like behaving in a way, like only look at stuff that you like. Don't go, oh, that's horrible, I'm going to look more. But now it because obviously we have a colour palette, it now knows my colours, it does by size, so like everything that's coming up for me now is like the brands that I like, the colours that I like size longs for tall people. It's amazing.
Okay,
so I think you need to do a little bit of the legwork and then it will magically do its thing for you.
I have sold quite a bit of stuff on Vinted though.
I've not sold anything. Maybe that's the next thing that I need to do to
get selling some stuff. Yes.
Amazing.
Right, let's see. So we're still deep in the autumn vibes here, Maddie. That's essentially what's happening.
Riding the wave.
Fully obsessed. Fully obsessed. Let's see how next week goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the new one. I can't wait till I've got a year's worth of hyperfocuses in a list.
We can look back and be like, what is happening?
I know, we've forgotten half of them. As always, send us your current hyperfocuses. We love to hear those.
Yes. Tell us who's most woo.
Yeah.
And this was fun, Maddie. This was fun.
I loved it. Till next week.
This was fun, and I will see you next week.
Mystic Maddie out. See you in a bit.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us and check out Timely, who we recommend as our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.